For a professional basketball player in a national league, money is not an issue, and for many players, they've been dreaming and waiting for years to buy their dream items. Many players spend their money on things that are flashy, expensive, and noticeable in a crowd. Others buy houses and cars for themselves and family. And some splurge on the weirdest things known to man. In today's video, we're going to tell you about the top 10 most outrageous things bought by professional basketball players. You may recognize some of these players, so be sure to leave a comment below. Number 10. Shaquille O'Neal, fish tank in his car. First up, we have a well-known player. He's played for the Orlando Magic, the LA Lakers, Miami Heat, and many other teams. That's right, it's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Mr. O'Neal is a big guy, and of course, if he's gonna get something, he's got to go big. That's why back in 2014, Shaquille O'Neal purchased a 3,000-pound fish tank and had it installed in his home. The massive aquarium cost about $50,000. To add to the already large fish tank, it was built into a big rig truck. The tank is customized with a Superman logo in honor of his favorite superhero, and the tank is framed so it perfectly fits the front of the big rig. This is apparently not the only Superman gear sported by the player. He's a huge Superman fan. The tank was designed by a well-known Animal Planet show called Tanked. Guess this player decided to invest in the livelihood of his fishes. Number 9. Jerome Williams, a personalized mascot. Jerome Williams was also known as the original junkyard dog, and he was well known around the league and provided great support for his team. When he played in Detroit, he received lots of support. He had an entire cheering section just for him, and he even decided to spin a nice penny on his very own personalized mascot. And of course, like anyone would assume, it looked like a junkyard dog. Besides being in attendance courtside at games, the mascot also went to various hospitals and schools to talk to children and teens. While the concept of the mascot being a junkyard dog didn't sit well with many people, we all know it was not malicious at all. Number 8. Scottie Pippen, private jet. Next up, this is Hall of Fame player number 33, Mr. Scottie Pippen, who also liked to spend his money however he wanted, except this guy bought an entire private jet. He was known for being a pretty smart and experienced player on the court, but the same could not be said off the court. Apparently, this star player blew $120 million on many pointless things and weird objects, but one of the most expensive and exclusive things he purchased was a private jet. He paid approximately $4.3 million on a Gulfstream jet. The only problem was that he didn't get the jet inspected before he purchased it, or he would have known that the jet needs nearly another $1 million in repair. Not sure if this purchase was more outrageous or more irresponsible. Still, the thought of being able to fly wherever you want, whenever you want is nice. That is, unless you're like Scottie Pippen here, who didn't account for the many expenses of owning a jet. Without the cost of maintaining and owning the jet in consideration, the jet never took flight, so therefore his purchase was basically pointless. Number 7. Danny Granger, personal Batcave. Following Mr. Pippen's outrageous jet, we have Danny Granger, Indiana Pacer forward number 33, who might be the biggest superfan of Batman that we see on the court. Mr. Danny Granger back in 2008 announced that he would be building his own Batcave. This superfan wanted his own Granger cave with his own secret entrance that only he knew of, and he would be able to drive into it. A year later, he updated it with an intricate design that took approximately another year and a half to complete. The player wanted many different aspects, but had to get rid of a few things, including an underground tunnel entrance, in order to be in accordance with the many state codes and laws. Although he had to lose a few features, after becoming vocal about the idea, a builder called him a while later about a lift for his car, just like the original Batman. His last update on his Batcave was in 2011, but now in 2019, we can be sure he's probably hiding out underground in his Granger cave right now. Even though he can't drive in through his secret underground tunnel, it's still nice to have. Number 6. Gilbert Arenas, Shark Tank. This next former NBA player likes to live a lavish, expensive lifestyle, and this can be seen by the things he buys. On top of his $3.5 million mansion, he liked expensive car washes, an expensive housekeeper, his large pool with a grotto, and a full bar. He has even spent $600,000 on a train set for his children and even paid to have it assembled at their home. But one of the most outrageous things he bought was his enormous shark tanks. His home includes 3 large aquariums that house his fin friends. He spent nearly $1.5 million installing the tanks, and he used to pay about $6,500 a month to maintain the tank and the sharks, which surely had a hefty diet. Unfortunately, in 2012, he decided to sell his huge mansions alongside his tanks and selection of rare sharks. Number 5. Marquis Daniels, Custom Chain. Our next contender has played for the Mavericks, Pacers, and the Bucks. It's Marquis Daniels. Besides being an NBA player, he also pursued a rap career. With the many different forms of income, Mr. Daniels decided to indulge in jewelry and purchased his very own custom chain. And not just any chain, one that had its own special character. His 14-karat gold chain weighed about 1,300 grams and depicted his very own face. The custom piece is iced out with many diamonds and is basically a sparkly version of his face. Some of the diamonds include gold and cognac diamonds. He can basically look down and see a shinier reflection of himself looking right back up at him. Number 4. Al Jeffersons Bed. Al Jefferson, the former player, is a pretty big guy. At nearly 7 feet tall, finding a bed that was comfortable enough to fit and sleep in was probably challenging, until he dropped approximately $23,000 on a bed. His bed is 12 feet by 10 feet and is probably bigger than most of your living rooms. The bed is big enough to sleep a gorilla. The bed's big enough to sleep a family of 6, maybe even 8. The bed is long and wide enough to sleep the nearly 7-foot athlete comfortably. After a long career in basketball, a nice comfy bed would be comforting after a long game or practice, that's for sure. Number 3. Jarrett Jack's Shoe Collection. Being a sneakerhead has been a popular trend over the past few years, and this next player is no stranger to a nice pair of sneakers himself. Famous point guard Jarrett Jack, over time, acquired a pretty large shoe collection for himself that takes up about an entire bedroom of space. Over time, he collected over 1,500 shoes, and some of them may never see daylight again. The shoes themselves altogether cost over $375,000. He pretty much has enough shoes to wear a different pair every day. This seems to be a heavy dedication to shoes. We can admire his efforts and pretty much crown him the shoe king himself. Number 2. DeShawn Stevenson ATM. Most people have to travel to the store or their bank in order to take cash out, but not this player. Shooting guard and small forward, DeShawn Stevenson decided to buy himself an ATM. He was best known for his beef with LeBron James. After a devastating loss in the playoffs, they did receive redemption later in the finals. Despite not doing much, he did celebrate pretty big. It didn't cost much for a player of his caliber. It cost him about $3,500, and he refills it with about $20,000 every few weeks. And of course, the ATM still charges a $4.50 fee every time he withdraws money. No more trips to the local bank or store for DeShawn Stevenson. And number 1, Kobe Bryant, Cristal. Finally rounding up the countdown, at number 1 we have the well-known Black Mamba and his expensive taste in alcohol. He's the 4th highest scoring player in the league. Number 24, Kobe Bryant. Bryant was very competitive on the court, and apparently his competitive nature didn't stop there. Kobe Bryant was out on a night on the town and happened to be in the same club as Antonio Esfandiari, famous poker star. After Antonio bought a few bottles of $1,400 Cristal, Kobe got a little competitive and decided to buy 15 bottles to top him off. The funny part about it is that apparently he didn't even take a single drink from any of the bottles. Maybe his competitive nature overtook him a little much here, wasting nearly $21,000 on liquor alone. Hope it was worth it, Kobe. You won that one. Would you buy any of these items? What would you buy if you had the amount of money these players have? Do you know any other outrageous purchases made by famous NBA players? Do you have any suggestions that didn't make the list? Or do you have any other video suggestions? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below, and like and subscribe for more great content if you enjoyed the video. Press the bell icon to stay updated with all future videos. Thanks for watching.